You are listening to the Will Power Podcast. Welcome to the show. I am Will Holdren, and I talk with some of the most influential CEOs, entrepreneurial leaders, and thought leaders to reveal the secrets that have led to their success. I believe that with the right knowledge and mindset, you can do anything you say your mind to. So if you want to learn how to change your life for the better, if you want to learn how millionaires actually became wealthy, or if you want to develop and start your own business from the ground up with the right knowledge to help you, then you are in the right place because this is the Willpower Podcast. How are we doing, everyone? My name is Will Holdren. I'm the host of the Willpower Podcast. Today we have an incredible entrepreneur, and his name is Rick Segal. And Rick is actually a leader in impact investing. He is an author of a book called The Heart of It, 10 Pillars of Mindful Impact Investing. And I'm going to love diving into that book here on this episode. And on top of that, he was the founder and CEO of a company called Rethink Capital Partners. So it's an absolute honor to have him on here with us. So first and foremost, Rick, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and jumping on a podcast with me.
My pleasure, Will. Thank you.
Yes, looking forward to it. And I want to ask you a question starting out that I ask all of my guests, which is one, what makes you want to take time out of your busy, hectic schedule to jump on podcasts like these to kind of just tell your story?
I started writing a book a couple of years ago, and I was reflecting, which I don't think we have enough time in our lives to actually reflect and think about what we've learned, what's motivated us, why we chose the path that we chose, because we're so in the moment and so reactive. And when I began to have a sort of reflect back on it, I realized that a lot of things that I've done in my career follow a philosophy that I think should be more commonly adopted in the investment world. Basically, it comes down to companies being run for the benefit of all constituents. That's not really new, but it's not particularly honored. I think that the more we can advocate for a different way of modifying capitalism, and believe me, I am very at heart a capitalist. I believe in the value of profitable companies and earning a return to the extent that you can with your energy and your intelligence. But I want to spread the concept, particularly in the environment that we live in now, that there is a better way. There is another way anyway. If it's not better, it's at least as good, but it's better for everybody, not just better for management or ownership or individuals.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's a very, very intriguing topic. And I want to recircle to what you said earlier, is that a lot of time in your life, you mentioned that you spent most of your time kind of reacting and not necessarily thinking. And it's interesting. I just had a conversation with a high level entrepreneur who on paper looks extremely successful. But then he told me as well, he's like, I'm just so busy. Like I just spend my time reacting to things happening in my life instead of having that time to think about what's going on and think about how to move strategically moving forward. So I think that's a really interesting point that you brought up there.
That what we don't realize is, as individuals, this concept of intentionality, some of it is conscious and some of it is subconscious. And when I reflected on my life, I actually understood more about the subconscious, because the conscious doesn't really have time to emerge.
Yeah. And again, I think one of the main issues today is that a lot of people are going through life on a very similar track to one another, where it's, you graduate high school, you go to college, you get a job, you spend most of your life there. And again, it's not really thinking, it's just going through the motions in that regards. And I don't think a lot of people move with a lot of intentionality or ever get to a point where they can, you know, think of a way to change of how to get out of their current position. So I'm just curious. I mean, from your experience and what you've seen, I mean, what is the best way for people to kind of develop the intentionality in their life to understand how you can go from just doing normal things as a normal person, your normal day, to kind of living extraordinary, right? And stepping into a business and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that I talk a little bit, or maybe more than that, in the book about this, but I think that it's being open to opportunity and trying to understand from others what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how you might be a part of that. I think that so many people are lockstep, and I realize that there are fundamentally a lot of pressures on people, particularly today, that don't give them the luxury to, get out of the rat race, so to speak. You have to pay the bills before you can, venture out. But I think that never losing your natural curiosity and always realizing that there are individuals that you can meet, you can talk to, you can learn from, and maybe you can even joint venture with, and not be so protective. I'm not saying abandon all of your principles or all of your concerns, but be open. One of the things I find is most people, when they're interacting with others, are not open to what the other person is saying. They're more concerned with what they're saying and winning the point rather than sitting back and, I call it, I was an English major, willing suspension of disbelief. Let somebody tell their story. They've thought about it a lot more than you have. You have a lot more to learn from them by listening than you do by talking.
Yep. I love that point. Just like you talked about, you can't be learning if you're the one talking, right? So I think that's an important concept to keep in mind. But to your point, I mean, relationships at the end of the day are everything, and you have to be open as an individual, as a person, to learn from other people's experience, because at the end of the day, you just really don't know what you don't know, right? And so when you come off, like you said, kind of being the one arrogant, talking about everything that you're doing, it really just, kind of puts a wedge in that situation. So I want to jump into impact investing. I know obviously you're a leader in impact investing. Your book is focused around impact investing. Kind of walk me through, as well as the listeners on this podcast, what is the difference between impact investing and what people would consider as normal investing?
I think there's two things. And I think that first, let's say that impact investing is a very big word. And you may hear different people, say different things. When in its infancy, impact investing might have been supporting a small group in a third world country to raise sustainable crops or create a small financial success out of a trading company or manufacturing of goods, and you might be building a small community. I think that we need to think of impact investing in a really broad way, in that you have to effectively move the needle, and you have to move it responsibly. I'll give you an example. I just finished, I don't know if you've read it, but I just finished reading Careless People, the Facebook. That's the book that Facebook is trying to kill, but it's the history of Facebook and how they've grown and what they've done to be successful. and what the impact has been on the world,
Hmm.
which has been quite negative because they didn't understand the concepts behind impact investing the way I would describe it. Uh, Facebook is a great demonstration of how technology can be leveraged. I think that uh, if you are going to make an impact in the world, it can't be analog. It's got to be digital. It's got to be tech driven. It's got to be available to a wide constituency at a easily accessed level. Um, I think that the key that I started saying about being and and caring about your position in the world and your effect on the world is something that is horribly lacking in a lot of the tech successes that have created tremendous value, but that has concentrated wealth in dangerous hands, and we're seeing right now the impact of having creating wealth purposes, whether it's the ego of the creator or whether it's the financial return opportunities without being aware of collateral damage or whether you are raising all boats. I often go back to saying that the creation of business, if you go back in time, was I could do something for you that you couldn't do for yourself. And we would agree on compensation that was mutually beneficial. And now we've created a society that I can sell you something that you don't want at a price that you can't afford. And I will be the beneficiary of having brought you into my circle instead of you and I being co-equals and benefiting from the bargain. And that's what I think is, ultimately the contract that has to be observed, that uh, it, every relationship has to be equal. There's not a winner or a loser.
Right. Right. And I think you can find that in nature as a principle as well, where if it's not mutually beneficial, I mean, it ceases to exist eventually, right? And no matter what the relationship is.
I think that's an incredibly relevant point. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that, it's probably among many lessons that we can learn from the plant or animal kingdom that seems to do a better job of survival of their species
Yeah.
and respect for others than humans do.
Yep. Yeah. And some of the species have been a lot longer than us as well, so there's something to learn there for sure. I want to go to one of your points. I mean, you mentioned that kind of the balance between business and consumers has really shifted where now you're buying something you don't want to really buy just to impress people you don't really want to impress, right? And so
Right.
um I think, when really diving into that, I think our society has really turned into a society where we just want to consume things and we easily become jealous and envious of other people that we see who may have things that we want to have, right? And that's leading us to just buying these things that society is pushing us to buy, even though, like you're talking about, we really don't need. And it's kind of an interesting trend. And I don't know if we're going to be moving away from that anytime soon, but we see it happening.
Well, we certainly, this whole evolution of influencer society
Yeah.
is definitely preying on our worst instincts, and it's hard to know whether that is uh, something that's driven by our own weaknesses in needing to be better than the next person or have something to talk about that they don't, or whether we're just manipulated by superior marketing. And there is no question that marketing has become quite sophisticated. Data is being manipulated in ways that we don't even understand. So this goes back to what's a responsible company, and I think definitively we are all victims of what has been created around us by taking our data in ways that we don't understand and manipulating us. And the people that are doing that manipulation are far more sophisticated than any one individual can be. So it's just, we need to, particularly in these times, we need to understand, we're all in it together. And if something
Yeah.
can be done in a way that is mutually beneficial, then that's the way we have to do that. And as I said, business began with that concept, and we're so far away from that. So I find, part of it is you have to choose the areas that you invest in, obviously, because some are, in certain industries have the capacity to benefit mankind. Certain industries don't have that capacity and are irrelevant except for the financial prospects of whoever is producing that particular product. So we need to just be more cognizant of what we're doing, and we need to make people understand, either as entrepreneurs or investors, what it is that really makes a sustainable product, what is built to last. And I think that history will show you that if you're producing something and have a reasonable expectation from your consumer and it's benefiting them, then you will be a sustainable business. We have seen falls of businesses either because of straight corruption or because of just paying attention to what is a fad and not a necessity.
Yeah. All great points. And I think it boils down to really just being aware, right? And that's what I love about entrepreneurship, because it really is allowing the person to kind of take the blinders off, right? Because you're talking about these big businesses, you're talking about government, how they're all trying to manipulate people. And it really boils down to the fact that they don't want you to be self-sufficient. They don't want you to be an entrepreneur making your own money, not needing them. They want you to be unhealthy, right? So you can buy their drugs, buy more pills to take care of depression, whatever that looks like. And that's not how the human was designed to be. So entrepreneurship to me is one facet of how you can break out of that, really take off those blinders. And if you can become self-sufficient, becoming the ultimate rebel in today's society, which is being healthy, which is being wealthy, right? All those things. I mean, if you can do that, then that's how you can really become aware in today's world.
That will, you make excellent points. Not only is it a difficult path for an entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
the financial system that we have now with the venture capitalists, the disrespect for entrepreneurs and the manipulation of them by the venture capitalists is really harming innovation. And we've not
Yeah.
seen anything more representative of that than what happened over the last year when a lot of really good companies, really good ideas, really good hardworking entrepreneurs were unable to raise the capital that they needed to continue their operations because of two things. One, all of the lenders to the venture capital world blew up because of their own. Talk about this in the book, that banking originally was the institution that we had the most faith in, and now we succumb of the world. And First Republic, that we're driven by somebody trying to make, rather than a sustainable, responsible bank, a way to make a lot of money quickly. But the venture capital world is designed to take an entrepreneur and the basic formula for VCs is 1 in 3. So 2/3 of the people that they actually invest in, they plan on cutting their life short by you can't have put 10 years into a business, the best years of your life, and then be abandoned by your investors. And investing is not a straight line, as we've talked about. There's plenty of pivots, there's plenty of mistakes. The only way you get something right is trial and error, patience, and persistence.
Yeah.
VCs don't respect that.
Yeah. Yeah. All great points. And like you're talking about too, I mean, VCs are vital just for an entrepreneur to kind of get their legs underneath them and get the ball rolling. But from a VC point of view too, I mean, you're talking about you're planning on 2 out of 3 of the businesses not working full time at the end of the day. I mean, that's a pretty crazy stat to me. So
Right. And it's a little bit like when you go to college, right? They say, look to your right, look to your left, one of you is not going to make it. Well, imagine if you put those same hardworking entrepreneurs that were so thrilled to get a top VC backing them, and they said, look to your right, look to your left. 2 of you aren't going to make it, but you are going to run your life. But
right.
go for it. Take our money.
Right. And yeah, like you said, I mean, entrepreneurship is no joke and it's going to take all you have to make it successful. I don't care how many people you see online that make it look easy. I mean, it's not. And you know that as well as I know that. So it's something that you got to devote yourself to. And yeah.
It's a noble pursuit.
Yeah.
But we need to have more respect for people that are willing to do that, particularly when they're doing it in an idea that really has the capacity to change the world. I don't care if you're selling, dog food and you fail. I mean, that's, I didn't, no disrespect to dogs. But I do care, and particularly in education, which is so vital to the future innovations that don't see the light of day because we don't have the financial support
Right.
in place to stay with them. we certainly, in this day and age, we don't have rational government support for innovation. We used to have, a bit more, and the level of investor support has to change. I think that there will be a reckoning in venture capital because the last few years, whenever institutional investors start to lose money in a way that they were able to make it easily before, then they start to re-examine, what they're self-serving manner.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, I mean, I think the past couple of years of markets have been really well, and you could have been invested in pretty much anything and still made money. But I think as times go forward, I mean, like you said, you're gonna have to be way more strategic about your moves and what you're investing into. So that'd be good to see.
I agree. Yeah.
Before we run out of time, I just got a couple more questions for you. So one, I think we got a really good insight into investing and impact investing in particular. But for those that want to dive deeper into those topics and really find your book, I mean, what is the best way for them to go out there and get your book so they can read into that?
Well, I don't want to support the nefarious forces in the world, but Amazon's always the easiest way to buy it. I believe that there are other sites, Barnes and Noble, whatever. There was, it was interesting to me. There was a very, very positive review in Kirkus, which is sort of the Bible for booksellers, to see what they're going to order. So there may be with so many things. We don't have the optionality that we used to have. We don't, the local bookstore that you could go into and say what's good, that doesn't exist. Everybody shops at Amazon, and it's the best price.
So I think Amazon is the local bookstore now. So
Yeah.
so yeah,
And everything else, right?
right. Well, with that said, I mean, before we jump off, is there anything else that you would like to say? And if people want to reach out to you, I mean, what's the best way for them to go about and find you?
Yeah, no, happy to have anybody reach out to me. LinkedIn is easy to find, and probably the best way to do that is just a LinkedIn message.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good. Well, guys, there you have it. Rick Segal, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Will. It's a pleasure.